This podcast is solving a linear system using substitution. Now, just a reminder, solving a linear system is looking for the intersection point of two equations. So we have 5 steps that we're going to be following to solve this problem. Please be patient. This is a little time consuming. Also, this could be a little frustrating at times, so just make sure that you're going through each individual step. This little checklist at the top is very useful. Alright, so example number 1. We have 2 equations. Step 1 says solve one equation for either variable. So what that means is I'm going to be looking at my first equation or my second equation and trying to get one variable by itself. Now ideally we'd like to see that one variable is already by itself. And actually on this one it is. Okay, x equals negative 2y is already by itself. So step 1 is actually already done. Step 2, it says substitute for that variable in the other equation. Alright, so what that means is where there is an x in my other equation, I'm going to put negative 2y. Now by doing this, this is allowing me to only have one variable in the problem. So again, where there is an x, I am going to put negative 2y. So my first equation says, there we go, 2. Now there's an x there, so I'm going to put negative 2y. I still have the plus 7y equals negative 12. And that's it for step 2. Now step 3 just says solve, so I'm solving step 2. So I'm going to simplify. 2 times negative 2y is negative 4y. I still have the plus 7y equals negative 12. A few more steps to go, because I'm actually solving for y, trying to get y by itself. Negative 4 plus 7y is 3y. So I have 3y equals negative 12. Divide by 3. And y equals negative 4.
I'm doing bowling.
Now, step 4 says substitute the result from step 3 into the equation in step 1. So I'm substituting this result right here, y equals negative 4, in for my y of step 1. This is going to enable me to solve for x. So I plug negative 4 in. And I have x equals 8. And step 5 says check the solution. So what that means is I'm just going to plug in 8, negative 4 in for both of my problems to see if it works. 2 times 8 plus 7 times negative 4. Does it equal negative 12? Plug it in your calculator. Yes, it does. And also check to see if it works for the second problem. Plug in 8 for x. 2 times negative 4. Check. Works for my second problem. So our ordered pair, our solution where these two lines intersect is 8, negative 4. So that is my solution. Okay, let's try another one. Example 2. Step 1. Again, I want you guys to number your steps. Step 1 says get an equation with a variable by itself. Now I'm looking at both of my equations And the equation that looks the easiest to get a variable by itself is the first one, because I have a single x plus 1. So I'm actually going to get that plus 1 to the other side by subtracting 1. So I have x equals negative 4y minus 1. Just wait. Step 2 says substitute that in for the other equation. So if this is what x is, in my second equation, I am going to put that right there where the x is. So 2 times negative 4y minus 1, I still have the minus 5y, equals 11. Step 3 says solve. So I need to distribute. So negative 8y minus 2 minus 5y equals 11.
So that has a pen too.
Keep going. Negative 13y minus 2 equals 11. Add 2 to both sides to solve. So I have negative 13y equals 13. Divide by negative 13. Y equals negative 1. Step 4 says substitute that answer into the variable from the first equation, from step 1. So if that's what y is, I'm going to substitute that in for y into my step 1 problem to solve for x. Okay, so negative 4 times negative 1 is positive 4. 4 minus 1 is 3. So my solution is 3, negative 1. And you would check to see that this is correct.
Mommy.
All right, this is the last problem that I'm going to do with you. What color? All right. Step 1 says get a variable by itself. So if I look at my two equations here, my first equation already has y by itself. So step 1 is already done. Step 2 says substitute that in to the other equation. So I'm going to take this 8x plus 4 and substitute it in for y of my other equation, because that's what it says y equals. So 16x minus 2 times 8x plus 4 equals 8. Step 3 says solve. 16x minus 16x minus 8 equals 8. Now if you notice, those cancel out. Step 3, again it says solve, and I end up with negative 8 equals 8. It is not a true statement. When I get to this point and I notice that I can't go any further, it's not true. Remember when I said it's not true? If it's not true, it would be no solution. These lines would never intersect, so I would have a set of parallel lines. All right, so let's see if you can try example number 4 on your own. It may have a solution, it may not have a solution like example 3, and it may have an all real numbers solution, so remember that option as well. So again, these are the notes for substitution method.